Hello, one and all. Welcome to another episode of MMA Vision Analysis. This one, I'm here to talk about the speculations surrounding a possible fight between Islam Makhachev and Michael Chandler. I know it's a shocker for me, and I think the rest of the MMA world. But before getting started, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification to get all of this that is new from this channel, your channel, the one and only MMA Vision Analysis. I've always said that I'm a huge fan of Michael Chandler, despite the losses. As of late, I've always said that Michael Chandler only lost to the best one, and all of his fights that he actually lost were very, very close fights that he could have won. This statement is just not something that's coming out of my pocket. This is the actual reality of the fights that Michael Chandler had in the octagon, in the UFC specifically. All of them were very close fights. Michael Chandler never was outclassed by anybody that he's faced, and unfortunately for him, some of those moments were his, and then the other moments were his opponents. It was back and forth wars. All of his fights, whether you mention Poirier and you name it, all of them were actual close fights that Chandler could have actually won. Now, that being said, I always give Chandler respect. I always say that Chandler is the proper example for a mixed martial artist, especially when it comes to the new generations. The guy is just the perfect athlete. Personal opinion, I don't think it's much of a personal opinion as much as it's a fact. Michael Chandler is a top tier athlete. I don't think two people could perhaps argue in that regard. But when it comes to giving Chandler a title fight, that is something that is questionable. I think with a lot of these rumors, perhaps matchmakers start these rumors just to get a feel of what it's, what kind of response these said rumors get, and kind of go from there. But I've been seeing it more than once, and sources have suggested that the UFC did offer Michael Chandler the opportunity to fight Islam Makhachev in October, if I'm not mistaken. The source said that was immediately after the cancellation of the fight against Conor McGregor. I do understand that perhaps Conor asked for such thing when he was in talks for that McGregor fight. He probably said to the UFC, hey, if Conor pulls out, then I want the champion of the division. And that's perhaps something that was agreed on, at least between the UFC and Chandler. Now, there are many different ways of looking at this, and there are many different ways of point of views that we can view these speculations from. First and foremost, we have to think about the champion of the division. If I'm not mistaken, Islam Makhachev dismissed the idea completely of him being interested in fighting Chandler. In all honesty, I'm more of a fan of seeing Islam Makhachev fighting Justin Gaethje. I know Gaethje kind of put himself out of the equation with that loss to Max Holloway for the BMF title, unfortunately for Gaethje. But I don't think Gaethje is completely out of the picture. I think one more fight, this guy is right back up there in title contention. Maybe a Benoit Saint Denis fight, even a Matthews Gamrot fight for Gaethje. Next, I know Gaethje will definitely come back into the octagon, and have not ruled this guy out as being the toughest opponent that Islam Makhachev can possibly face in that 155 division, regardless of the name. That being said, there are only a handful of fighters that are realistically in the same category as Islam Makhachev in terms of being top draws. Michael Chandler is definitely a top draw. Will it be an entertaining fight? Absolutely. I would not be opposed to that. But where does Arman Tsarukyan fall within all this? What does Arman think about all this? That's what I want to know. If I'm not mistaken, Tsarukyan wants to delay. I'm not sure what's going on with Arman Tsarukyan, but I do understand that Arman Tsarukyan had the opportunity to fight for a title the night of UFC 302 instead of Poirier. That's who Poirier kind of filled up for. Arman Tsarukyan, because technically he was up next for that title. So he gave up on that opportunity. I'm not sure if he's going to give up on this one too and just allow Islam Makhachev to pick a different fight. And perhaps the ready fighter, the guy that's been training for a fight, is Michael Chandler. It would certainly be an entertaining fight, but is the champion willing to take that fight? I don't think he has much of a say if the UFC decides to match him up with Chandler, in all honesty. Obviously, Gaethje's still recovering. Poirier put himself out of the equation with the loss against the champion of the division. It's going to be a while before Gaethje talks for a title shot. And obviously, Arman Tsarukyan is kind of hesitant in facing the champion. I think that was proven by him not taking the opportunity to capture that title the night of UFC 302. And Matthews Gamrod, you cannot give that guy a title shot yet. He still has to earn it, with all respect to Matthews. Benoit Saint Denis was knocked out against Dustin Poirier last time around. And that's just kind of all roads lead to Rome. Everything's kind of pointing to the fact that Chandler is perhaps up next for that 155 title. And I think as soon as Chandler gets a fight, that's when we're going to see Conor McGregor perhaps back in there in the octagon against Nate Diaz for the third time, because I think he is more interested in this fight than he is interested in the Chandler fight. All respect to everybody involved here. I wish everybody the best, and I'm only hoping for the most entertaining fight. If you made it this far, I appreciate you for sticking around. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe for more.